you always were thought that if a man respected you, he wouldn't want to have sex with you at least right away, right? Because I will actually start a relationship before we had any type of intimacy. And then I was stuck with a guy that I care for deeply that didn't know how to eat, kiss, have sex. Any basic skills in bed, they didn't have them, because I'm just not gonna put a few months of work and invest time in you and, you know, invest myself in this relationship if the sex is, I already had enough back.
I absolutely love watching these feminist podcasts where we get to see the mindsets of hoes play out in circle jerk fashion, all right? But the only reason why I love it is because I have a platform, and through utilization of the fair use policy, I get to smite these mindsets one by one. And I love taking y'all along with the journey for me, all right? Because I know that y'all wouldn't watch these podcasts without me doing that activity. Nevertheless, the over-sexualized young lady in today's content, all right, she was a previous video vixen. I believe that she's married. At least she says so on her profile, but she damn sure don't act like she's married, all right? She goes by the name of Rosa Acosta. Let me just bring her up on the screen right here, all right? Now, she recently went to the Lovers by Shan podcast, which we've covered like, I think 2 or 3 times over the past maybe 2 years or something like that. And they talked about utterly ridiculous things, but we're going to highlight 2 of those utterly ridiculous things within the confines of this video, all right? I was actually taking a look at her Instagram in order to corroborate kind of the lifestyle that she currently lives. And is it expected that these industry women have profiles like this? But as a mother, this is what she's currently doing and the way that she is projecting herself. So, of course, she must have fantastic things to say, right? So let's go over it. She begins to talk about like patriarchy, and then she doubles down and then lets us know why she's rejected perfect men in her life before. So without further ado,
It's like, we will like think that only men are, you know, but we have it like, and so, you know, I'm actually loving the opportunity to unlearn the patriarchy, that to unlearn like misogynistic like traits that I learned and that are deeply engraved in me. And I think it gives me an opportunity to become a better woman, a better human being, but also it allows me to be a better partner, because I'm not judging my partner by these obsolete like ideas of like, well, you know, you are the man, so you should do this thing. And, you know,
I would love to sit here and chit chat with you, but I gotta go. Ooh, tiring.
And also like learning that relationships are gonna be different for everybody, and that maybe you are expecting something from your partner. That doesn't mean that I have to expect the same from my partner.
Yeah.
I have allowed myself to like...
Now, mind you, she's like 41 years old. She's been an industry bop for like 20 something years, being linked to, you know, famous rappers and entertainers and stuff like that, right? And to hear her talk about unlearning patriarchy, the same patriarchy that allowed her to be an industry bop, framing patriarchy negatively, and also the men within that patriarchy making you famous, lusting after you, is absolutely insane. They will always bite the hand that feeds them without correctly acknowledging where they got their stardom from. But the truth is that the mindset of a hoe in interviewing them about their understanding of what is happening in society around them is exact reasons why platforms like this exist, because if conversations like this go unabated and uncriticized, then the general populace that comes across it might think that her mindset is normal, without understanding that no, this is of a hoe's mindset, one of which downplays the importance of men in society, but then they also pad her bank accounts through her $5 a month OnlyFans account while married. And the truth is that having expectations for a man in the masculine roles that he will provide is perfectly normal, just as a man having the expectations for a woman in the feminine roles that she can provide is absolutely perfectly normal as well. But they will always try to redefine in the spirit of empowerment or sexual liberation and will cast doubt on rules, structures, and standards because then how is she going to make money? I refuse to let these definitions of these modern relationships, one without rules or boundaries. Our biological hardware has not changed, but women like this will continue to push these software upgrades that only benefit themselves and don't benefit the entire unit or the family structure or unit within it.
Change and challenge like some of like those thoughts like that I grew up with, that I was just like, absolutely no way. I'll never do this or I'll never do that.
I love that you shared this, and I think it's so important for women to, because often when men hear patriarchy, they start to get sound bells going off of like, this is a conversation around hating men.
Right.
Oftentimes we're actually talking about loving men better.
Oh, shit.
Right. Like, how do we dismantle this idea of the dad or the overseer or the man, and then try to shove every man into that box? How do we instead think about the actual lived needs of the society at large, but the individuals within a relationship? Like, I have a friend of mine
she's
who
got game,
got
baby.
into a relationship with a guy who was very emotionally in tune and emotionally evolved. Women say that they want this, but when she was kind of confronted with this for the first time, of a guy starting a lot of sentences with "I feel," she was like, well, who gives a fuck about your feelings? Like, or man up. Like, what do you mean you feel? Like, get this done, or be more objective, be more stoic. And she was like, oh, damn, I'm the man in this relationship who's trying to like uphold the patriarchy and uphold these traditions and uphold toxic masculinity. Like, I'm the problem disallowing my partner from being an individual.
Right.
And so I think it's interesting to kind of have those moments as a woman to stop and be like, oh, I'm actually the patriarchy in this scenario.
Right. And
God, she's good. No, you are not the patriarchy within this scenario. Stop saying shit like that. Where's my slap emoji? Hold on. No, you are not the patriarchy in that example, ma'am. These women will stop at nothing in order to change or transfer kind of this new idea of male leadership or masculinity, or redefine what a real man is through his manhood. Meanwhile, what that woman was communicating was a biological need to be led. But she's met with a man that is not confident in leading, and through the utilization of maybe a lack of a father within his life or a lack of other strong masculine leaders in order to take examples out of their rule book, he falls by the wayside of leadership. Newsflash, the hardware of women, by and large, wanting men to lead will not change, but you keep on changing the damn software. You keep on upgrading shit. Meanwhile, it's a virus, baby. Quick emergency meeting. I was recently searching for my name online and found way too much personal information, which brought me down this weird rabbit hole of how that could have happened, and found out that there's companies out there called data brokers that will sell your data to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. And it's a nasty, disgusting feeling knowing that there's bad actors out there selling my information, selling your information for profit. But that's why I'm recommending today's sponsor, Aura. Now, I use Aura to automatically remove my information from these sites and keep my information off. But they do other things as well, such as bank fraud and identity theft alerts, VPN access. But guys, utilize my link down in the description box down below for a 14-day trial. At least see if you've been compromised. Privacy is king in this day and age, and you should know if your information is out there. So again, utilize my link, aura.com/MTR, in the description box down below to try 2 weeks free. That's way more than enough time to see if your personal data has been exposed. Go now. It is a virus that is pushing these men to be feminine, weak, pathetic, non-leaders. And women, by and large, do not want that, especially if you take it out of the internet and get down to the simplicity of our biological makeup and our biological needs. And they proved it no more than if you watch Kevin Samuel's show and you see these women call in time after time after time, and he would ask them, what are your needs? How much money do you want that man to make? And if after you get pregnant or you have a child, do you expect to fit the significant portion of the bills within that relationship? More often than not, these women would want the opportunity to stay at home and rear children. This would happen time after time after time Again, a type of man that wants to provide like that, step up and being leader in his relationship. These are not I feel type men. These are masculine men. Even for the young ladies that are down up in there that are watching this content, is that the type of man that y'all want more often than not? The I feel type of man? The type of man that's going to allow his wife to be sexualized for money? Or a masculine man that provides structure and guidance?
I just feel like sometimes when we when we say things like, men should pay all the bills, and that sounds amazing, right? But with that same sentence, wouldn't a man allowed to say, well, women should only be in the kitchen? So I was like, okay, I wouldn't want somebody to tell me that I'm just good for that one thing, or women should only have children and cook and clean, and that's it. But we do that with men. Men should do this one thing, and it's like a man doesn't have to provide, pay all the bills, but he can if he wants to, and then you can choose the one that wants to.
Well, another person whose name gets put in songs all the time, actually, which links back to our conversation, is Halle Berry. Recently, her ex-husband went on a podcast, David Justice, and said the reason why he broke up with her is because he realized that she didn't have many of the qualities that his mom had.
Yeah.
She's like, she don't cook, she don't clean, she doesn't seem very motherly. So I think, again, to your point of getting into a relationship with a man and indiscriminately expecting him to provide is not dissimilar from getting a relationship with a woman and indiscriminately expecting for her to be whatever you view a woman to be. Where it's like, you're with Halle Berry. She is a multimillionaire. She is a historical actor, record-breaking actor. No, she doesn't have time to do your laundry and sort your socks.
It's not what he viewed as a woman. It's what he viewed as a mother. And he wanted to have a family. And he was damn right. I mean, she's doing lubricant advertisements at 50 whatever years old on Mother's Day. He was right. Also, he could have paid people to do all of the cooking and the cleaning, but he's looking for motherly, right? Can he trust that she's not just a short-term fling lust in the moment versus watching her being able to raise children? That's what he was looking for. Don't you demonize what men are looking for the long term. And also, they will talk about how great Holly was, but David Justice was the breadwinner at that point in their relationship. And he was the way more famous one, without question. But they will buck up at a man that has standards or expectations, and there's nothing wrong with him seeking that through a significant other, one that he wants to make the mother of his children. But if his expectations were too far from her reality, then who can blame him for wanting something different? Relationships require alignment, and she refused to meet at the middle. So he figured that out before it was too late. Now let's fast forward about 10 minutes or so, because they talk about something else that I wanted to get into.
The woman has to delay sex for as long as possible. The man needs to work really hard.
That never worked for me. Don't take my advice, ladies. Okay, please don't, because I am a special case. But I grew up, I come from Dominican Republic, and things over there, people are very close-minded and, old school.
It's more traditional.
And there's a little layer of religion, in there as well. And you always were thought that if a man respected you, he wouldn't want to have sex with you at least right away, right? So I always felt that a man not wanting to have sex with me right away was them respecting me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, left me with years of bad sex, because I will actually fall in love and start a relationship before we had any type of intimacy. And then I was stuck with a guy that I care for deeply, that didn't know how to eat, kiss, have sex, any basic skills in bed. They didn't have them. I mean, when I tell you, I dated some of the nicest guys in the world and also some of the worst people in bed. So, as of my later years, I was just I got to meet somebody and we were vibing, and I say, look, if you're the kind of man that will judge me because we have sex early, this is not gonna work, because I'm just not gonna put a few months of work and invest time in you and, you know, invest myself in this relationship if the sex is, I already had enough bad sex.
Yes.
When they are not worried about giving you any, chances are it's not good. And I'm not having that.
As she's explaining this, the only thing I can think of is that her remarks come from the spirit of 1,000 bodies, baby. Like this is. That's the only way that I can explain this, right? She's gotten to the point of meeting the perfect man, right? And it sounds like it's happened a couple of times within her life, all right? And no matter if you were the perfect dude, you treat her, you respect her. Now, mind you, she says that she grew up thinking that if the guy didn't want to, at least at first, that means that he's valuing your morality. He's valuing, you know, maybe even how you look. He's valuing your mind, right? He respects how it is that you earn in ink, right? Like all of these different things that would make sure or make him or make you believe that he's being serious about you. Fuck all of that. Like all of that goes by the wayside, baby, because at the end of all of that, if you last 3.5 to 5 minutes, she gonna disqualify you. Not that this is something that can be worked on. Not that this is something that you can discover together, right? Not any of that. But if you have stepping, it's a wrap. This can only be as a consequence of accumulating so many bodies that to you becomes a number one priority in a relationship. So now, because of whole logic, she prioritizes let you dig out her guts immediately in order to find out if that's something that she don't need to disqualify you for. Now, to her credit, she did say, don't listen to me, ladies. So I will notate that. But just imagine if we had a society filled of Rosa Acostas, right? Like if it was just only women with this type of mentality, right? That will disqualify you based on your bedroom activity and will just completely ignore character, stability, loyalty, like any of those other things, right? Like we just have a society of men incentivized by being strokeologists as opposed to being good men. This wouldn't be sustainable. Anyway, let's proceed.
We should also talk about, too, your order of even getting to a place where you're sexually attracted to somebody. It starts off with respect, care, and them treating you well.
No,
yeah,
she
you were
just
mentioning
said
that
no.
you don't even find men attractive until there is a base level of treatment that you receive from them. So it's not like it's like a dude that you're just like, I see him, he's hot, we're going for it.
With men, women are just, like I was telling you, women are beautiful. I am always salivating. You know when people say like, oh, like I don't want my man looking at other women. I'm probably the man looking at other women in my relationship. I go outside and I'm just like, my God, why is everybody so beautiful? I'm in love with everybody, with their hair, with their eyes, with their hands, with their everything. I'm like, gosh, everybody, these ladies are gorgeous. What y'all doing? Man, my friends will be like, oh my God, he's so hot over there. And I'm like, where? That guy over there with the hat. I'm like, oh wow, you guys, that's not cute. But it's just because men have to earn it with me. Men have to, that's so gay, but it's just how it is.
Well, you're bi, so.
It's so gay, but women are beautiful and men are not, unless they are nice people. Okay. And then they become beautiful. They are nice, you know, they start getting, you know, if he's balding, you kind of like stuff, the receding line kind of like pulls a little more to the front when they start being nice. You know, if they're not tall, when they start treating you nicely, you start feeling like the energy is giving 6'4", 6'5". Men just have to earn it with me.
Yeah.
They start off ugly and they work their way up. Ladies are beautiful.
Now, I don't disagree with her that women are the fairer side of the gender, right? They're gorgeous. They're beautiful as long as they back ain't too big. But my guys, you must understand, you must never be a nice man. You must always be a good man, a respected man. What she's effectively saying is that your hairline is coming back and you get taller if you are okay with the mistakes that she's made within her life, consequence-free, going around the industry like a hula hoop, putting them cakes up on the internet for public consumption for the low price of $3.99. Only when you do all of these simp-ass, weak-minded things, then she might sort of find you attractive. It's a trap. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Gentlemen, hold the line. Keep your standards. Keep your boundaries. Don't allow them to rewrite the software, to change the code in the matrix. There used to be a time period where home mentality was relegated to the street corners. But now everyone has smartphones, and buying a microphone is relatively cheap in comparison to, a couple of decades ago. But allowing this mindset to permeate will be the death of a civilization.
Regardless.
And then as we were saying too, like this again is not rooted in self-hate and hatred towards men. It's rooted in love for men.
Oh gosh.
And you have dated incredible men. You love your experiences with men. The men in your life, you feel so much reverence and respect.
I am the one telling my friends, not all men are the same. Not all men are trash. Not all men cheat. Not all men this, I think they are a reflection of myself, and I think I think I'm pretty cool. So if I pick them, because it's not like I was given into marriage or anything like that by my family. Like I picked these guys, and I'm not saying that they are perfect or anything like that. No, nobody is. But in the grand scheme of things, like I think they were all great guys, and I left every relationship better than I entered it.
Yes, if you set yourself up to only even entertain people who love you the way that you love yourself, at the bare minimum, it's going to be a positive experience. May not be the one, may not be the best, but it is going to still renew your hope that there are good people out there who are worth your time.
Okay. The genjutsu or the mind bend necessary to reframe her talking points into being a benefit of men, knowing that she prioritized getting her back blown out outside of a man that has key facets of being a man is absolutely insane to me. And they will prioritize excitement over stability, over substance, image over loyalty or quality, while still having an expectation for a man to get down on bended knee for a modern ideology while he signs up for a traditional contract. It's absolutely absurd to me. You are trying your hardest to put a square peg into a round hole, upgrading software where no software upgrade need exist. Shit, you want to upgrade the software? Change the results that men receive in divorce. Change the family court system. Because men, by and large, since the 1950s, they've not changed. We've been the same over time. But since the introduction of feminism has rewritten this new mindset, and they just speak of these lifestyles in a way that I just can't get behind. But I think inevitably it is not your role as a man to save her from her choices or to ignore her past. Your role is to make sure that you do not sabotage your own future by entertaining somebody who has already shown you exactly who they are. Questions, comments, concerns. Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Guys, drop me your comments. Drop me some stuff down in the comment box down below. What is it that you think about the content put in front of you here today? I'll leave a link to the full podcast. I always like to advertise the original content creators as well. So I'll drop it down in there so you can check out the full podcast to show support. All right. And until next time, YouTube, peace.
She belongs to the street.
Girl, don't hold my hand. You a mattress actress on the OnlyFans. Get your money, girl, but damn, how is that your only plan? What you gonna do when you get too old to strip and dance? Get up out your echo chamber screaming period and yes. You a low down dirty woman if you try to get knocked up by a high value man.